I can imagine that now you're really eager to learn more about process discovery and actually apply process discovery algorithms. So let's not waste any more time and start right away. First, make sure that the event log is imported into ProM. So in this case, you see it is here. Select the event log from the list, which is then indicated by the screen marking bar. And then we will go to this right pane here and select the play icon. Here you see the description is use resource, and if we click it, we will now be redirected to the action view. And you see here on the left, as we have clicked the use resource icon before, our event log is now specified automatically as the input. And as we already have the input defined, the actions that we see here in the middle in this list are already filtered to actions that can be performed based on the dataset. As we want to do process discovery, we can filter the actions by clicking this little light bulb icon. And now we see here a list of all actions that are classified as process discovery actions. In this first video, I want to start with using the alpha miner, because the alpha miner was one of the first process discovery algorithms. But we also want to use this example to discuss why the alpha miner in some cases produces really good results, but in most cases, and also especially with event logs that are generated by systems in practice, it produces results that are not really usable. So let's explore what the alpha miner produces based on our event log that we have here. So we will select the alpha miner action. And then you see here in the output panel on the right-hand side, it's already specified that the outputs will be a PetriNet and a marking object. We will see the results in just a few seconds. Now make sure again that alpha miner is selected, and then you can click finally the start icon here on the bottom. So I click start. Then you get another dialog where you can define the event classifier and the version of the alpha algorithm. I will just leave them to the default options. In most cases, for experimentations, the default options that are predefined by the developers and researchers of the ProM tool are the best ones. So I will leave the default options. I click finish. And now, as the event log is quite small, the resulting PetriNet or the process model has been generated within a few seconds. So here you see now the overview of the generated PetriNet, starting from the starting event and ending with the end event, of course. And just by having a quick overview or a bird's eye view on this process map that we can see here, we can immediately see why the alpha miner also in this case did not produce a really good result. If you look at the process model, the first half of the model, so probably until this assess claim start point, looks pretty easy and comprehensive to understand. But if we look at the rest of the process, there are a lot of paths. So the algorithm tried to implement or display all different variations between the order of the events that occur across the different cases into one process model. So here you see there are really many paths leading to different events. And this is some kind of overfitting model, because the algorithm tried to produce a model that represents all variations of our process that occurred across the different cases that we have. And as the alpha miner just looks at direct follow relations in the different cases in the event log and doesn't have any features of the heuristic or the fuzzy miner, the end result is really not really usable. As I've mentioned, it tries to compress all the different variants of our cases into one process model. And this is actually not what we want to achieve with process mining. We want to have clearly understandable process models that tell us how the process works. You can use the icons here on top, this enter icon, to realign the visualization within this drawing canvas that we have here. You also have a zoom option, so if you want to zoom in, you can just do it like this, and then you can move the scroll bars to navigate through the process map. And now let's quickly move through the events that we can see here. We have a start event, and then the first event is incoming claim. And then here we see a distinction between Sydney and Brisbane. We see the event is the same. It's check if sufficient information is available. Right, then we have this event following it again. And basically that's here where the process map gets a little not so easy to look at. This is typically if we see these many lines here, which represent the edges between the events or the flows or transitions. This is what we typically call in process mining a spaghetti model, because it's like throwing a lot of spaghettis onto a table and then, well, the overall picture is not really usable or interpretable. Still, you can follow through the process. After checking the information, you see that there is start of the registering the claim. Then the likelihood of the claim is determined. And this is then the part where the process becomes even more complex in this visualization. This is mainly really due to the shortcomings of the alpha mining algorithm. Other options that ProM allows you to do is to choose different visualizations for this PetriNet. We had this first one here right now, then you can choose a different library for visualizing with this GraphViz. So let's select this. So here you see it's basically the same information, but it's aligned differently. So the display is just a bit different. And there is also the graph visualizer's dot notification. So let's select the dot notation. And here you see it's a bit different than before. So basically the data and the message of the process model is the same, but the notation is a bit different. If you want, and let's go back to the PetriNet that we had in the beginning, you can also export the graph. So you can export the current view to different file formats. So you have, for example, different types of images such as JPEG, or you can also export it as a PDF file. So that's it. With a simple event log, it's actually quite simple to perform process discovery using the alpha mining algorithm.